Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets on what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for hitting download. I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I'm going to talk to you if you are a coach, consultant, graphic designer, website designer, any type of service provider that sends proposals as your way of part of your sales process. I want to talk to you about the challenges that could come with that and how it could actually be impacting your sales. And so excited to dive into this topic. So a couple of things I want to share with you first. Firstly, I found an editor for my book. I am so freaking excited. I am about to book in the designing session with my graphic designer to work out the book cover. It's all coming together, which is so exciting. So it most likely, we've looked at the timeline and broken it down and looks like it's most likely going to be early Feb, which is so exciting to bring it all together. I feel like it's been a labor of love to make this happen over the last couple of years. And honestly, I'm just so excited to get it out to you. And I have the Thrive Retreat happening at the end of October, which is only a couple of weeks away, and I only have one spot left. So if you would love to come along for an expansive weekend where you get to relax and enjoy yourself as well as work on your business and get 3 days with me, as well as my beautiful chef and my clay magician and yoga instructor. And we've got a beautiful weekend planned and an amazing group of women coming to join us. So if you'd love to come and join us, either send me a DM on Instagram or I'll put the link in the show notes below so you can find out all the details with the one spot left. Then the third thing I want to share with you is I'm going to be doing a final opening of doors for Unstoppable Sales for this year. So this is going to happen over the next couple of weeks because the next round will start the beginning of November. And so if you have wanted to work with me to really work on your sales process, to really work on your sales strategy, and you work on your mindset to support you in being unstoppable in sales, then I'd love for you to come and join us. The best thing for you to do if you're keen to join us is to put your name on the wait list, because that means you get access to all the incredible bonuses that are not available to everybody else. It's like $1,500 worth of bonuses. So if you want access to those, pop your name on the wait list. There's no obligation to join from joining the wait list. So basically the wait list is like a show of interest. So if you're like, yep, I'm keen to know more, then pop your name on the wait list and you will be first in the know when the doors open. There will be a limited number of people that I'll be taking for this cohort because I'm already quite busy with the other masterminds. So I really want to be making sure that I've got enough, space and time to actually serve everyone. So I'm only taking a very limited number of people over the Christmas break. So this will be a 4-month program and we go from November, December, January, February into March because we do break for 2.5 weeks, or I think it's 3 weeks, 3 weeks over the Christmas break. So we then extend it out into March, so then you still get the full 16 weeks. And so you may have heard me talk about Unstoppable Sales previously, and it previously was actually a 3-month journey. Now I've just extended it. So the current round that are working with me at the moment, I actually extended it for an extra month. So we are doing 4 months. And the reason for that is because with them being able to have the time to learn the processes and then implement them, it's just taking a little bit longer than expected because this is new information, new content that I've been sharing with them. And so I didn't know we needed more time until I took a group through it. And then I was like, no, we got to this point where I was like, no, I think we're going to need another month. So I've extended it out. The price point stays exactly the same. So feel free to jump into the details below, add your name to the waitlist, and I will be sharing more information with you very soon. All right, let's dive into today's episode. So if you are a service provider who provides a proposal, I'm not going to tell you to not create a proposal. That's totally fine. And I think that creating one helps you get clarity on your offers and the quote that you want to present to the client. And it also gives you the opportunity to really showcase what you're doing with a client. So in some circumstances, proposals are amazing and they're necessary in order for the client to make a decision. But it cannot be in place of your sales process. So if you are doing half a sales process, which means you're taking a client through a conversation, you're helping them to make the decision, you're supporting them with the questions and objections that they may have, and you're determining whether your service is the right fit for them, and you're taking them through that process. If you are replacing that process with a proposal, then you're most likely missing out on opportunities to be able to overcome objections, to be able to speak to the challenges that the client may have in making the decision. You may actually be really leaving a lot of money on the table, right? I support so many women in my programs with this because they've been taught one way and they've got stuck in that one way. But what has changed in the last year is that a lot of people are taking a lot longer to make a decision. And if you haven't overcome the client's objections, if you haven't supported them through the decision-making process, and you haven't really showcased how you are different and what you do and how you help them, and then you're just leaving them with a proposal to try and answer their questions, you're leaving money on the table. And the thing is that people are needing more of a conversation, more touch points to actually make big investments. And this is just because there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, there's a lot of uncertainty with the economy. So they're sitting in a lot of uncertainty. And if you are just letting them make their own decision without supporting them through the process, you can miss out on a beautiful opportunity to work with an amazing client. So what I mean by this is that usually a sales call process will go through, uncovering what the client needs, speaking to them about the problem, speaking to them about what they really desire, going through all that information and determining what they need, right? Usually what happens when I speak with designers or I speak with, branding strategists or interior designers, anyone that basically creates a proposal and sends it to them, what I'm hearing and what I'm experiencing with clients that I'm working with is that they're only doing half a sales process and then they're sending their proposal off hoping that it does the rest. And this is where they're missing out on money. So we're basically going through the process of get to know the client, figure out what it is that they need, say yes, yep, I can absolutely help you. And then we're going straight to, let me send the proposal for you. And then it feels really uncomfortable to then follow up. And it feels, sometimes the client ghosts you because you haven't actually overcome their objections or concerns. And they're literally getting stuck in the place of, well, all I can make a decision off now is through a proposal. And even though I know that you probably follow up and offer another opportunity to have a chat and all those things, we need to flip it in a way that actually serves the client and it's part of your process, part of your service. So you really want to think about sales as a part of your service, and you want to consider what's the best way for me to present my offer and what's the best way for me to actually show them how I'm different to other people. What's the best way for me to go through all the inclusions? What's the best way for me to navigate the objections? What's the best way for me to answer their questions? Now, a lot of people, if they're getting a proposal, they will think, oh, that's the information that they need. And if they have questions, they just won't come back with them. And they'll just go find someone else who will answer their questions, right? So you could be doing half the process and sending them off to somebody else who you've already done half the process, right? And they're more likely just to be like, oh yeah, this person answered my questions, so I'll just go with them. So we really want to make sure that you give yourself the opportunity to actually speak to those concerns. Now, a lot of the time we have a lot of fear around doing that. So firstly, we've got to work on your confidence with your sales process. We've got to work on your confidence in being able to handle questions. And I worked with a client recently and she had so much fear about being rejected. She had so much fear around, what if I can't answer the question, that she was getting caught up in literally this visceral response would happen in her body where it'd be like, oh, no, can't answer this. And then she would try to get off the phone call as fast as possible. And so we had to reframe what was actually happening in that sales conversation because that client was literally asking her, can you give me more clarity? I'm confused or I'm unsure and I need more clarity. And only you have that clarity. There's a reason why you've included certain things in the proposal. There's a reason why you're teaching them your way of doing things. There's a reason why they need your solution. There's a reason why that they need it in the way that you do it. But if you're not articulating that, then you're leaving people just to try and figure it out for themselves and to determine why should I go with you versus someone else. So I would always suggest breaking it down into 2 calls. So do the first initial thing. If you definitely need to actually take a pause to figure out the proposal and the quote, then I would, on the first call, get all the information that you need in order to create the quote, educate the client that as part of your process, what you do is you then go away, develop the proposal, and then what we do is we jump on a follow-up call and we go through that proposal together. So then they can understand why you've included things, understand your process, understand how you're different to other people, and understand why it's best to work with you, right? And it gives a beautiful opportunity for them to ask questions. You want them to ask questions. If they're not asking questions, they're most likely not interested and they're going to go somewhere else, all right? So get comfortable with asking the questions. And I shared this with my client in Unstoppable Sales as well, that I was like, you know what questions you're going to get. You've been in this long enough to know what questions your clients are going to come up with. I want you to practice your responses to those questions because what's happening is you're going straight into defensive mode. You're going straight into fear. And you don't know how to respond and you're trying to prove yourself by going, oh, this is how, this is this, and this. And the client just feels like you're trying to prove yourself. Whereas really you want to come back to clarifying what the question is, figuring out what the client's really needing and what they're really unsure of, so then you can give more clarity. By doing this, you're not manipulating, you're not actually like forcing them into making a decision at all. You're literally answering their questions. If there's no space for that, then they will literally just go somewhere else. So I would implore you that if you are someone that does send proposals, I want you to think about doing it in a different way to give yourself space and time in order for you to answer the questions a client has. Expect that there's going to be questions. Expect that they're going to have objections. The more you know about your ideal client and the objections that they have, the easier it is for you to overcome them. This is why I teach this within Unstoppable Sales, being able to handle objections, being able to stay in your body rather than in your head in the state of fear, freaking out about what the client's going to say. Not everyone, and I'm probably going to say like 99% of people will not convert without asking a question. So think about that. 99% of people will not convert unless they've asked a question in order to get that clarity. So create a space for them to ask that questions. Otherwise, you're leaving so much money on the table. Okay, this is resonating with you. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM or add your name to the waitlist for Unstoppable Sales. Because if this is a place of contention for you, if this is a place of fear for you, if you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about when it comes to the process, or that scares the hell out of me doing it in that way, then that's why you need to work on your sales skills. And that's what Unstoppable Sales is all about. So add your name to the waitlist, come and join us. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. Otherwise, have an incredible week. Thank you for listening, and if you've found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live, and make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at @ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.